One of the most basic things that we're going to do over and over in our programs is use for loops. For loops allow us to iterate over a sequence. So there's really two things that we're interested in. One is the loop variable. This is the thing that we're actually using right now. And then also the sequence. This is the data that we iterate over. And the sequence can be anything you want. So here, I create a list called some numbers, and I set it equal to this. So we're going to iterate over all of these things. So some numbers is our sequence, and then we're going to take each item within that list and use that using a for loop. So here we say for this num in some numbers. Okay, so this is our for loop. We have some numbers, this is what we're going to iterate over, and this num is going to be what we're using at this time right now. So when I do this for loop, I'm going to print out this num. So let's run this, and you'll see that it's -1, 4, 6, 3. You'll notice that it's the same thing, the same order that's given here for some numbers. So every time I go through the for loop, it's taking the next value in our sequence. So first it's -1, then it's 4, then it's 6, then 3, then -5. So we're running through the sequence that we give it here with our loop variable, this num. So this is one way to do things. We can also, rather than loop over the variable itself, or the value itself, so rather than loop over -1, 4, 6, we can loop through using indices. Before we do that, I'd like to introduce two functions that are built within Python that we're going to be able to use. So the first function is lang. So this is the length of the value. When I call this with some numbers, passing some numbers as the argument to my function n, it returns 11. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 values here. So it's just printing out that value, or the number of things that are in my list. When I say range, range is going to be 0 to whatever value you give it -1. So that I have now a list that has the same number of indices as what I'm giving it for my input. So here if I say range of lang of some numbers, so this is 11, right? We see that here, this prints out 11. So my range for 11 is 0 all the way up through 10. So now we can do our for loop, the same for loop as we had before, but we're going to use indices. So we're going to say, all right, for spot, so now this is an index in range lang of some numbers. So this is 11. This is going to be 0 through 10. Right? That's what we have right here. So now, rather than iterating over these values, so this num is one of those, spot is now going to be one of these. So when you say print spot and some numbers at spot, using spot as the index, so our first column here is spot. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's this here. We're now doing our for loop over this list. And then we can say some numbers at that index. So again, we have our indentation here. So we know that this is inside the loop. So anything that comes after this, if it's indented, will be done every time. Anything that's not will be done only after the loop is complete. So we can take a look at that here. So it's the same thing that we were doing before. So everything that is highlighted now is the exact same as before, but now we have some additional print statements. So we're going to print inside the loop, and you'll notice that this is tabbed over. So this will be done every time inside the loop. And then we have a print outside the loop. This is not tabbed over. This is not in the for loop. So that's only going to run at the very end. So you'll see we have all of our numbers inside the loop all the way down. And then once we're all done, outside the loop. So this only happens the one time after our loop is done running.